All right. Hi, guys. Oops. There we go. All right. So today we're going to be reacting to. Oh, hi, Lil. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be reacting to your stories. So I'm going to be pulling those up. If you are watching this video after it's recorded, we're going to get started at about 5 minutes in. So I'm just going to pull up your guys' comments here first. Yeah, you guys gave me a lot of really good stuff in the comments. I was asking you guys what the worst pet store advice you've ever been given when you're buying a pet somewhere, and there were a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stories, a lot of comments. So we're going to check up on those. I'm doing good. How are you, Keegan? Sorry. Thank you. You like my hair, Jennifer? Yeah, I'm very excited to be back to having colorful hair. I just realized having normal color hair is not for me. Oh, thank you, Austin, for having been watching since 2017. Can you bring your guinea pig out while you read the stories? No, I cannot. I cannot look up these stories and hold the guinea pigs at the same time. Okay, so we're gonna get started here pretty quick. Almost there. I'm taking the comments from Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And YouTube, the ones from YouTube as well. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to read some of the comments from Instagram. Wait, hold on. Which one am I on? Oh, Twitter. We're going to read some of the comments from Twitter first. Okay, so um, and then I do try to go through the comments here on the live chat as well. If you're new to the live streams on Mondays, we're talking about certain topics, and if you want to like participate in that topic, then your comments have to be about what we're talking about. So sometimes we get a lot of like comments that are off topic or questions and things like that. So I don't read those. I mainly just stick to the ones that are about what we're talking about. So today, what we're going to be talking about is the worst pet store advice that you guys have received when you've gone to pet stores. So let's start on Twitter. So the first one is from ZA Reptiles at ZA Reptiles. I was told I don't need a thermostat for my snake's heat mats because their temperatures don't need to be that hot. After I explained that thermostats keep them from getting too hot. So yeah, that's it's like they don't know what thermostats are for, and thermostats control the temperature on the heat mat. So I think you would definitely want one, especially if your animal doesn't need a high temperature, then you want a thermostat so that you can control the temperature so it doesn't get too hot for that animal. So yeah, they don't need to be that hot. Maybe they think that thermostats like amplify the temperature, but yeah. And that's not even really having to do with animals. That's probably like the technical issues of the care. So it just shows like if they don't even understand what thermostats do and the difference between thermostats and heating pads, then I don't know what else you can expect because that's kind of just basic concepts that don't even really have anything to do with animals. So yeah, there's that. What are you guys thinking about that one? Austin Burton says, that's how I burned my first leopard gecko. Pet store I bought it said they didn't need one. I was 11, so I thought they knew it all. Yep. Exactly. So that is important. Let's see, what else do we have here? Tiny Beastie at Caitlin Czar says, betas can just stay in that cup, in that little cup. Yeah, that's really sad of how many people buy the little beta in the cup and actually keep it in there. And they have to have smaller enclosures in the pet store because they can't have like one for each beta fish. So that's kind of, why they have these small ones. But yeah, it's like you are supposed to take it home and put it in something bigger. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, here's one that, oh, this one upsets me so much. Aster says, goldfish don't need more than 2 gallons. Okay, so Yeah, I get this comment so much. So I tell people on the worst pets for kids video that goldfish are not good pets for kids. They require a lot of work. They have a 15 to 20-year lifespan. And people are like, oh, you just get like a goldfish, it lives for 2 weeks and it stays in a little bowl. Like, yeah, it only lived for 2 weeks because you killed it. It's so bad. Um, let's see, what's another good one? Oh, here's one. It says, okay, Lizzie R. Art at Lizzie Roberts was told my ball python could eat dubia roaches as snacks to tide him over while they got a new shipment of mice in. I was so horrified I got emotional because I just knew some people are actually going to take that advice. Oh, that frustrates me so much. And I think there's more comments about what snakes eat. And it's like, I don't know where these pet store people get this idea. Like, and they must make it up. I mean, where did they get the idea that snakes eat insects? Like, who told them that? Um, oh, Stella Luna at my small zoo says that you can feed crested geckos dry food and not add any water to it. That's super annoying. Yeah, crested geckos definitely need the water added to it. Jeremy's Wild Studio at Jeremy's Wild. And oh, this is another creator. You need a pleco in every fish tank to clean your algae. Yep, that's it. Plecos in every fish tank. No questions asked. Doesn't matter what kind of fish you have. Probably even saltwater tanks, right? Yeah, let's start putting those in saltwater tanks too. All right, let's see. What's the next one? Oh, Cass at Wonder Pet Cass. An employee tried to encourage me to buy the scented paper bedding for my hamster to help with the odor. Sorry, I don't think my hamster wants to smell lavender and vanilla 24/7. Oh, yeah, I feel bad for like the little animals when people get really scented beddings or they clean the cage so intensely. Like, if you need to clean your cage, usually I just clean like the bedding and it's unscented bedding, and then their cage kind of still smells like them. Or if you really need to clean the bottom of the cage, you can just use soap and water. And anything more than that, yeah, like they're little tiny animals that are going to be in it. And that must be so overwhelming, especially since, like, if we can smell that they're bedding, if we can smell that it's like, oh, scented lavender, then imagine how intense it is for them when they have way better senses than us, and then they're just stuck there sitting in it. Like, yeah, Cass, I don't think your hamster wants to sit in that either. Abigail at Heck It Up Baby. An employee's dead ass tried to sell me a cage because cleanliness right after I mentioned that my rabbits free roam. Yeah, it's like that doesn't mean that they're pooping and peeing everywhere just because they're free roam. Uh, let's see, I'm just trying to check your comments as I go through this. Let's see, what else do we have on Twitter? Pandemonium at Chidler's Alley. Not advice, really, but someone once told me that leopard geckos suck because they have such short lifespans, only 3 years. Yikes. Yeah, they definitely need to check out leopard gecko YouTube. I think her oldest one is like 12 or 13 years old. Yeah, not 3 years. Let's jump over to Facebook. There were some beddings there. Oh, I just read a comment out loud. I was about to say there's some comments there. What type of bedding do you prefer for guinea pigs? Okay. So yeah, let's look at these. Oh wait, I think I did miss a comment on... Wait, there was another comment I was going to... Somebody just wrote about critter trails, and I was like, someone wrote a comment about that on here. Let's go back to Twitter. Oh yes, it says Menchie's Place, at Menchie's Place 4. So this is another creator, and she said, I was told by a cashier at PetSmart that Tiny Tails is a wonderful choice for my hamster. This was me buying the cage to make a review out of it about why it's the worst thing you can buy for your beloved pet who tends to travel 5 to 10 miles a night foraging for food. The irony. Yeah, that was, those are really, really small cages. It is a wonderful choice. No. Yeah, and two, I don't know how expensive they are, but it's like you can get tanks that are so much cheaper. And Emma Lim Sampson at EmmaSam99 says, I wasn't told this directly, but once I overheard an amplifier tell a customer that a Pac-Man frog should be fed 1 cricket a week. Oh, man. All right, let's see. I'm going to Facebook now. Let's see. Mark McLean says, we run a small petting farm and rescue animals in need from time to time at the 10-acre woods in Analoa, Manitoba, Canada. We have received quite a few animals in that the owners have stated that they were told it was male versus vice versa. In one case, it was a male and female lionhead rabbits, and after about a month were confused when one had young. I was so annoyed by this, I did a video about it on our YouTube channel. You can't rely on a pet store employee making minimum wage to give you decent advice. And that would be my biggest complaint about pet stores. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people I think don't realize is to work at a pet store, you just have to fill out an application. High school employees, you don't even have to have a GED because you can be in high school and get hired. You don't have to have any sort of education. You don't have to have any sort of experience. There's no qualifications for this job. And this is a minimum wage job. So obviously, you're not looking for somebody with any skills. And so all they are getting trained for, if they do get the job, is just, this is how the cash register works. This is where everything's located. Help customers find the kibble section. Like, that's it. They don't know anything about animals. They don't need to have an animal. They don't need to have had any experience or training with the animal. Like, there's nothing for this job requirement. So you shouldn't be going to a store and asking the employee how to take care of the animal that you're buying or what food it needs or anything like that. Just, it's not the employee's fault. And I don't think it necessarily is the pet store's fault either, because I can't see them hiring somebody with those skills because, well, one, it's honestly not really the pet store's job to give out like the perfect advice. I think they should have manuals for each pet that they do sell in the store, but when they're selling just products and stuff like that, it's not necessarily like where they're gonna, have all of this amazing information. Like it's just gonna be cheapest prices and what sells. Like, it's your job as a pet owner to go and figure out what the animals need and things like that. And so, yeah, they probably should have more information about the pets that they're selling, but they're not going to be able to, have somebody there that knows a whole lot about the animal. And even just like, Even the veterinarians that work in some of the pet stores that have like the vet clinic as well, they have no experience with exotics, and they're just, dog and cat vets. So yeah, there's just, you're not going to find anybody that's knowledgeable in the pet stores. Once in a while you do. Once in a while there's people who like know a lot about what they're talking about, but it's very rare, and you should be doing research. Bailey Savage, Savage. I worked at a pet store. I'm in high school still, and it was my first job. I quit in less than 2 months, and that's exactly what they tell you there. Yeah. So see, there's somebody who says they worked at a pet store, and there was nothing required, for them to be able to have that job. Let's see, what other comments did we get here? Jared Robert Madrid says that snakes of the same species can be housed together. Even though they tried to come off pro about it, wasn't any help because I'd watched many documentaries, and one of them was on pythons and boas, and it said that they were solitary animals. Yes, they're always trying to sell. I think that's one of the most common comments that I was getting while doing this, is that there's so many people that are trying, so many employees at the pet stores that are trying to sell solitary animals in pairs and social animals by themselves. Like, it's so bad. It's like, can't you at least get that right? And I do think that's one thing, that pet stores should be required to sell, two of each social animal. I think that would be really good. For example, Tractor Supply, when you buy chicks there, has this policy that you have to buy six. And I think that's a really good policy because the chicks do need to be in a group. They are able to keep each other warm. They're healthier that way. They're social animals. So it would be nice to see something like that put into pet stores, where it's like, okay, if you have guinea pigs, then you have to sell them in pairs and things like that. Whereas, like, if you have, if you're selling bearded dragons, you have to sell them individually, or, make sure that the owners have separate cages. Oh, Stina. Um, Actually, I have no idea how to pronounce that name. So we're just gonna skip that part. I was told that if my dogs pulled too hard on their harnesses, they would break their backs. One is an Irish setter and the other is a Cane Corso Alaskan Husky Poodle mix. Yes, my dogs are both perfectly capable of sledding and hard work. Will break their backs. Yep, they have proper sledding gear. Yeah, that's not a thing. I can imagine that if that ever did happen, it's like a very rare circumstance. Okay, so Jeremy Wild Studio is with us today, and he says, pet stores usually can't afford people with actual knowledge. Yes, 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 100%. I mean, there's some chain pet stores that maybe they could, but yeah, that's just not a realistic expectation. Bailey Borsavage, the pet store also yelled at me and threatened to write me up because I did my research and was trying to help a customer. The manager reported me because he didn't want to, and he wanted to sell the animal. So this was the person that said that they worked at a pet store. So yeah, that sucks. And that's the thing too, is like they'd probably sell a lot less items if somebody was really knowledgeable giving advice to customers. I haven't even worked in pet stores, and I've been in your shoes. They've gotten upset because I was helping other customers. Okay, where were we? We're on Facebook. Uh, mute for a little while. I'm looking at. Let me check your comments. Okay, let's look at these. Beauty on the rocks. Guinea pigs can live alone. It also keeps them quieter at night. Ah, that's mean. It probably does keep them quieter at night. But yeah, like we've been saying, they keep trying to sell social animals alone and solitary animals together. Oh, here's one. Alec exclamation. Chinchillas are for beginners and require minimum to barely any care. What the fudge? Yeah, chinchillas are super high maintenance animals that are not for beginners. They're actually in my worst pets for kids video. They're they're just complex. It's not really so much that they're super difficult to care for, but you have to have refrigerated air because you have to keep them at a certain temperature. They are very particular with their needs. Like, there's just a lot of, you have to be very knowledgeable about them in order to really keep them healthy and living a long time. Amanda Howard. Oh, here's another fish comment, goldfish comment. Basically, all instructions for fish. Goldfish are perfectly fine in a bowl because they don't need a heater. No need to cycle your aquarium. Just wait a day, then start stocking your tank. Fish only grow to the size of their aquarium. I could keep going. People aren't educated enough before they are put into positions where they need to give instructions for actual living creatures. Yeah, so that's kind of the reoccurring theme here that we've been talking about. And so goldfish need a really large enclosure. I think it's like a 40 gallon when you start off with just like a couple, and then it like goes up from there. And yeah, cycling your aquarium is important. I don't know where people get this idea of animals only grow to the size of their enclosure. Like, that's just such nonsense, and obviously not something that's healthy and doesn't make any sense. Like, if you were to actually apply that concept to real life, like, animals only grow to the size of their environment. So you have this small pond where this turtle grows to be 10 inches, not that big because it's a small pond. So that would mean that you have a lake and the turtle should grow to be like 10 feet, right? But that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in nature. So why would it happen in captivity? I don't know where people come up with this stuff. Chinchillas. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Oh, wait, we read that one. Chinchillas for beginners. Big T Goth GF suddenly made this a not kid friendly video. Male rats are too aggressive to keep with other rats. They prefer to be alone. Ah, yes, which is why my boys are killing each other while they're cuddling in their speed pod. Yeah. That's, uh, people think rats are very aggressive with each other, and they're not. Uh, Kiwa pudding. Ferrets are very dumb and don't need very much care. They only require a small cage, some food, and that's it. Ferrets are so intelligent, just really, really smart animals, and require so much time and just so much effort. And they're a lot of work. Like, I would never have ferrets again because I've had so many ferrets with health problems, like genetic problems from breeding. But yeah, just like how much work they are is probably one of the reasons I wouldn't want to have them again. And you have to clean them every day, at least once a day. they're so much work and so smart. Animal Journey, ferrets are so smart! Exclamation. Yes, they are so smart. Bojo Badger, the vets told us to put glass on top of a heat pad for my snake. She still has scars from the bad burns she got. At least it got her to feel more friendly towards us. At least at her last visit to her old vets, there was a lady with a bearded dragon that kept having seizures because the same shop suggested the wrong type of food. Oh man, that's sad. Poor snake. You know, that's actually probably a good topic though, is maybe next time instead of talking about pet stores, we could focus just on vet advice. Because people have this mentality that vets are gods and everything they say is just that's it. You have to believe them and there's like no other options. But vets are people. Vets have different levels of education. There are certain things that they are trained for in vet schools, and some things that they get nothing for. They get like no classes for or anything like that. And I think maybe next time we should do a video of you guys talking about bad advice that you've gotten from vets or times that vets ended up doing something bad to your pet, making a mistake or things like that. And not to shame vets, but to show people that vets can make mistakes and that's why you need to really be thinking about what's going on and just don't blindly follow what a vet says. Like if you're like, I don't know about that, get a second opinion. It's fine. And some people think like you can't do that, but you can. So yeah, like question them. It's just like if you go to the doctor, you're not going to just believe them for everything. Wait, a lot of people do that. Jeremy's Wild Studio. The only exotic vet in my area has a bearded dragon in his waiting room, ... on sand. Point proven. I'm checking your comments. Oh, Terry Epling-Keen, I have to thank you so much for your video on allergy tests you did. I bought the same test for my problem child Corgi and found out what she is intolerant to. So yeah, that was last week's video, which, and I've done other videos on it too. That one YouTube didn't notify you guys about, but I'm so glad that you were able to hear about the test and got your dog help. That is honestly like the best thing I've ever, like the best thing I've ever bought for my pets. The best amount of money like spent on them. It's just the allergy test for the dogs, cats, horses, and humans is amazing. Okay, so let's go back to these comments. Violet Shadow, I overheard a pet store employee tell a family looking at chinchillas that they need to be bathed with shampoo and conditioner once a week to remove the dust buildup in their fur. Ugh. Okay, so chinchillas actually can die from being wet, especially like that, like actually submerging them in water, covering their whole body in water. They can die from it. Yeah, it's so bad. And it's also terrible for their fur. Their fur should not be wet. Oh, here's one. Lewis, gotcha boy. If you want a rabbit but don't have space for another one, you can get a rat or guinea pig since rabbits are rodents. I was like, wow. Yeah, so first of all, rabbits aren't rodents. I wouldn't really expect a pet store employee to know that. I mean, I'd be like totally shocked and impressed if a pet store employee was like, "Oh yes, here are our rabbits. They're lagomorphs." Like that would be very surprising. But besides that, no, you can't just if you don't have space for another rabbit, you don't have space for a guinea pig. That's for sure. Or a rat. Oh my god. That's just can you imagine keeping a rat and a guinea pig together? You know, I'm pretty sure the rat would end up eating the guinea pig. I see that happening. Let's see what else. Garrett223 that the deaf ferret I was taking off their hands would be better off returned to the breeder and put down. Wee man lived 7 years. Yeah, that's a good lifespan for a ferret. And yeah, having a deaf pet, I mean, that doesn't mean that they need to be put down. Jeez. And ferrets are so smart. I can imagine that that wasn't really a huge issue for it. Someone wrote, just put them in any tank and you'll be fine. That doesn't work for any animal. I don't know which animal that they were talking about in this story, but doesn't work for anything. Erica Goldswicki, I should only get one parakeet because it will bond better with me. Not true. Barry's tearing up a toy over there. I can hear it. Pam Miller, leopard geckos need fruit too. Shaking my head. Yeah, that's... I wonder how many people have starved their animals from advice like that. Starved them to the point where they died. And I don't understand why they say things like this. Like, Alright, posting scriptures in my comment section is going to get you banned. So don't do it again. There is lots of religious channels on YouTube. You can go find one of those and enjoy yourself there. Yeah, like how many people have starved their animals from advice like this? And it's like, if you don't know about an animal, just don't say anything. It's not even like their job to actually give advice, so like, why do they have to give bad advice? Lily Padavani. The best home you should keep a rat in is an aquarium since they can't chew or climb the bars. Also, you should never house rats together. If you do, it should only be neutered male and female, and never house males together, even if fixed, because they will fight till the other dies. Yeah, so aquariums are the worst cages for rats. It causes respiratory issues, problems like that, makes them sick, and it's just so small for them, and so, like, they need big cages where they can climb and stuff. Like, yeah, it's okay that they're climbing the bars. That's fine for them. When I got my, Jacqueline Ketty, when I got my first bird, I was quite young. They told me that toys were optional and that all they ate was seeds. Overall, they recommended a bird as a cheap, low-maintenance pet. I know that's not the case. Yeah, birds definitely need toys. They should not be fed an all-seed diet. Whether it's a parrot or a songbird, they should have fresh fruits and vegetables every single day. Parrots need like 70%, fruits and vegetables. Songbirds, gosh, mine eat like probably at least 50%, and I don't think it necessarily needs to be that high, but my spoiled little canaries, like, all they want is chopped up vegetables. Let's see, what else? KK Bear Hug Games. When I was getting my first guinea pig, I'm happy I did my research. They had 2 guinea pigs in separate cages with rabbits and hay racks, and their cages were filthy. They had told me that guinea pigs only need hay once a week. Ugh, that is terrible advice. Let's see, hold on. I'm checking your comments. RL Angus, wait, how can you get banned? Basically, I just keep somebody from being able to comment on the video. And, about getting banned, I just ban people that are spamming or being very rude, inappropriate, or trying to make conversions. That's basically what I ban. Tracy, oh, never mind. Hold on. I'm trying to see if you're... Okay. Going back to the comments. Carly Malave, that guinea pigs are like wild rabbits. They don't need any affection. Like wild rabbits, you can't interact with them. I understand where that comes from, because with guinea pigs it probably seems that way, but you can get them really tame, and they're just, you need to be just really patient with them. That's one of the things, like, people get guinea pigs and they expect them to just be friendly immediately, and that's not the case. They take a lot of work. And remember, if you want me to read your comment, just make sure it's about what we're talking about. You can, talk about the stories, things like that, similar experiences that you've had. I'm not answering any other comments, just on what the topic is for today. But if you want me to talk about a certain topic, you can let me know, like on Twitter or Instagram, because I am doing these every Monday. Let's see. Talking about snakes, they said, quote, now you only really have to feed these guys a mice every 1 to 2 months. Takes a pause. Oh, and make sure you feed live mice. The frozen ones can hurt your snake. What an idiot. Like, maybe he thought that people were just giving their rats the frozen mouse, like, out of the freezer? They definitely need to eat more often than that. I asked the employee what I should put my goldfish in, and he said, all you need is a fishbowl and some water in it, and you're ready to go. Yeah, I mean, who cares about chlorinated water? Just throw them in there. Addie's Toy Channel, what happens if you get a pet from a pet store? Because I was not here for that part, please answer. Nothing. You just get a pet from a pet store. There's not really much else to it. The problem we're talking about today is getting advice from pet store employees when you buy that animal. That's where people go wrong. Isabella Rowland, metabolic bone disease in bearded dragons is not bad at all, and adult bearded dragons only need a 20-gallon tank. Ugh. Yeah, that's a tiny enclosure for a bearded dragon, and metabolic bone disease is so bad. Like, and how do you say, like, oh, such and such disease isn't that bad? Like, it's fine if they get it from your bad care. Let's see. Let me refresh these because I think you guys were writing new comments. What is that disease? Metabolic bone disease is something that happens in reptiles when they don't get enough calcium. In tortoises, it happens for other reasons as well. But in bearded dragons, it's mainly just that they didn't get enough calcium in their diet. And basically, their bones start to deform, so their body looks deformed. They're not able to actually stand up on their legs. They get very sick, and it's very easy to see visually, and they can't walk around. They do die from it eventually, but yeah, it's a horrible disease. Cheerios honey, gerbils and rats and any tailed animal can run in a wheel. She also pointed me to a wheel that was clearly too small. She also told me that chinchilla dust was fine for them. She was obviously just trying to sell us more things, or she didn't know. Probably both. I'm going to go with both. Let me catch up on your comments. Donna Kelso, your animals are lucky to have you. Thank you. My local Petco is really good. That is interesting. I'm surprised. They're usually like just like not. You can find sometimes an employee at a pet store that does know what they're talking about. It's just not very often. Whoops. Okay, well, we def provide calcium, and she's in a 40-gallon. Is that big enough? 40-gallon for a bearded dragon is like the minimum. I would recommend something bigger. I actually have, I think it was like 2 months ago or so, I did a video about a bearded dragon enclosure, and it's a beautiful enclosure. So I would recommend something like that size. That's bigger, and that's better for them. But it's good you're giving calcium and have her in a large tank, so that's good. Uh, wait, where's your... This keeps moving. Jorge Canales. Is that how you pronounce it? Jorge or George? I know it depends, like, on the person. I saw parent-raised parrots living by themselves in cages meant for small parrots and canaries living in tiny cages by themselves. Oh, I know, that's so sad. And you're from Mexico, right? Yeah, like, because here on the border, the bird cages are so awful. It's really sad. Let's see what else. All right, now I don't think we've done Instagram, right? Let's jump over to Instagram. I had an employee tell me that a filter with a high turnover rate would keep my aquarium water too clean, and it would jeopardize my aquarium's nitrogen cycle because the bacteria in the water column wouldn't be able to process ammonia and nitrate because the filter would kill the bacteria before it could. You know, I'm kind of confused by that, like, whole entire... usually, like, if you have a 20-gallon tank, you usually want a filter for, like, a 30-gallon, and you want it to be better than, like, the minimum requirement, basically. Let's see what else. That snakes only grow to the size of their enclosure, and so 40-gallon would be the perfect permanent size. Yeah, like, we just talked about this. Where do people come up with this? Like, animals don't grow to the size of their enclosure. I want to know where that started. You can give your bearded dragons only pellets, and they can survive on that alone and be healthy. Ugh. Yeah, that's terrible. Okay, this one's a long one. Not advice, but an experience, one of many actually. So one day I went into a pet store who keeps bunnies and guinea pigs together. They also give most of the bunnies the display cages that are used for hamsters. Literally like less than 20 gallons, maybe even 10. I was observing a particular rabbit and guinea pig for a few moments. These specific ones were in a bigger enclosure, and I noticed that the rabbit was biting the guinea pig's ear. The rabbit showed other signs of aggressive behavior towards the guinea pig too. The little guinea pig started running around the enclosure trying to get as far as possible from the bunny. My friend told this to the employee, and he barely even looked over and was like, no, they're just playing. They would never hurt each other. My friend said this again, and to the same person something like, but the rabbit was literally attacking the guinea pig. We saw him bite him. Then the employee was like, well, we haven't noticed anything, but fine, we'll separate them. I was incredibly annoyed, so we came back a few days later, of course, and they were still in the same enclosure. I also later found out this employee was the manager, and he purposefully decided not to do anything. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that even people who own pet stores, that doesn't mean that they know anything about animals. And you'd be very disappointed at how much they even care about animals. Let's see what else. That red Caitlin Perry 1031. That red ear sliders don't need a big enclosure or a rock to rest on. That's so frustrating. A lot of people don't know that turtles have to be able to come out of the water. That is essential to their health, and they can get really sick from not being able to dry off. Okay, give me a second and I will read some of your comments. I just gotta plug that thing in. Okay, here we go. Yes, hello again. So we're going to be going for about like 10 more minutes, probably 10, 15 more minutes. I'm going to try to answer your comments. Elton Opossum. I went to buy bugs for my opossum, and the girl at the counter asked me what it was for. I told her it was for my short-tailed opossum, and she said, I don't know much about reptiles, but Karen does. I don't know if I expected her to know what an STO is because it's very uncommon as a pet in Denmark. But why doesn't she ask what it is instead of assuming it's a reptile? I don't know. Maybe like, I don't know if it's like a just different in Denmark, but I just can't imagine like someone thinking that a possum is a reptile. Like, yeah, I wouldn't expect them to know what a short-tailed possum is, but like it's not a reptile. Or two, it's probably like a lot of people think that only reptiles eat bugs, and it's like you can feed a lot of other animals bugs like hedgehogs and yeah, like it's sugar gliders. Okay, moving on. The savage sax player. Chinchillas only need to dust once a month. Ugh. Yeah, so here's one. Where'd the comment go? There's one in here that I'm seeing the replies to, but I couldn't find the comment. And it was don't feed your snakes frozen thawed rats because they will lose their natural instincts and then die. And I thought that was such a stupid comment because they don't even really know that it's a dead mouse. Like, they hunt it like it's live, and they do everything that they would to a live mouse. They do it to a frozen thawed mouse. So obviously, yeah, they're not going to lose any type of natural instincts. I was told by a PetSmart employee that ball pythons can eat crickets. why do they keep recommending insects for ball pythons? Like, and I think that pet store employees, like, that maybe even pet stores believe this, because PetSmart sells, like here locally, the PetSmart sells a lot of ball pythons, but they don't sell any food for ball pythons, and it's so aggravating to me. Like, you're selling this animal, but you don't even offer the food that it needs. They don't sell any frozen rodents for ball pythons. It's so annoying. First time ever I bought from the pet store employee told me that guppies wouldn't reproduce. I had to get a bigger tank. Yeah, they definitely reproduce a lot. Flo's backyard garden. That chinchillas eat veggies. I had a vet tell me that once. Yeah, see, that's why we need to do the worst advice and bad experiences at veterinary clinics. That needs to be one we talk about. Yeah, that's basically it. I know I didn't answer everyone's comment, so I'm sorry about that, but thank you for sharing. Kathleen Adriessen, sorry. And they don't require pet store owners to have proof of knowledge of all animals. Why don't they make this mandatory? There's just no regulation for it, basically, for the owners to know. That just don't need to be knowledgeable. I mean, like here in where I live, recently there was a pet store that opened up, and it was opened up by this person who is a well-known pet flipper here in town. Just sells lots of animals on Craigslist, buys new ones, sells those ones. Has been caught selling illegal animals. Has sold lots of animals that were sick, had mites, just all kinds of things to people, and they would try to work with him, and basically they would get ripped off. And yeah, instead of actually like there being any consequences for that whatsoever, he opened up a store, and then the news did a whole story about it. And yeah, so I don't know what to tell you. It just, there's no accountability on for anybody. Oh, it looks like a lot of you are taking off since it is getting late. And I have to too. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and thank you so much for sharing all of those stories. That was really interesting. Like, just like I really liked being able to hear what everybody's gone through and stuff like that. So thank you so much for that. And oh yeah, Kathleen, no problem. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. So be sure to come back next Monday for my next live stream. I'm not really sure yet what it's going to be about. If you have any suggestions, let me know on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And oh, Jorge Canales. By the way, I did see. Oh, moved. By the way, I did see the birds in the small cage in the U.S.-Mexico border, but a flea market in North Texas. Oh, yeah. Yep, I believe it. In North Texas as well. It's, I guess, all over the place. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see what we talk about next Monday. And I'll see you guys